WESH 2 News starts now with breaking news.
We are staying on top of breaking news regarding the coronavirus pandemic. While you were sleeping, new numbers were released from the health department, and 2 new confirmed cases are right here in our area. Good morning to you. Thanks so much for joining us on this Sunday, March the 15th. I'm Villarreal with you today. And before we get to the very latest on the coronavirus, we do want to give you a check outside as you are starting your day this morning. We've got Eric Burris with a look at the forecast. Eric, good morning.
Good morning to you. What a beautiful start. Temperatures are comfortable yet again. We're going to be talking about so much sun today. It's going to be another wonderful forecast. As a matter of fact, so wonderfully sunny that it's going to be another warm one. Here's a live look outside. Tower Cam Network in the 6 o'clock hour on a Sunday morning, showing just a little bit of haze here. We'll start with either mostly clear skies or patchy fog. Just kind of depends on exactly where you are. But over the course of the day, any of that fog and haze burns off. We watch the sunshine and the temperatures build. Look at that, 89 degrees between about the 3 and 4 o'clock time frame. As far as visibility goes right now, we're not seeing anyone on the wide map at 0 visibility, though just a moment ago on Twitter, got a report in unincorporated Ormond Beach in a fairly rural area of some pretty thick fog there. Notice, though, DeLand and Palm Coast are seeing lowered visibilities, so none of that would surprise me. There are pockets of fog out and around this morning. Temperatures in the lower to mid 60s out the door. We're headed to near 90 degrees across the interior, low to mid 80s beachside. Another near record day. We're going to talk more about that, and we'll track the fog for you county by county when I see you in just a couple of minutes.
All right, Eric, thank you. We now know more people in Florida have been confirmed to have the coronavirus, 2 of them in our area. Overnight, the health department announced 39 new positive cases. They include a 48-year-old woman in Orange County. Officials say she will remain isolated until cleared by public health officials. The second local case is a 71-year-old man in Volusia County. The health department says that case is travel related. This brings the total number of cases in the state to 115. Now, when it comes to our local cases, we now know a TSA agent at Orlando International Airport has tested positive for COVID-19. In a statement to WESH 2, the TSA says an officer received an initial positive test for the virus. The officer is at home resting and will remain home until cleared by a doctor. Health officials identified other officers who were in close contact with the impacted officer. They have advised them to stay home and self-observe for the next 14 days. We spoke with travelers at the airport last night as the news broke. Here's what they had to say.
I think it's everywhere. I don't think you can determine where you're going to be, where it's not going to be. So I think as long as they're putting the measures and safety measures in place, that, it doesn't matter. I mean, I think it's just making sure everybody's protected.
TSA officials said they coordinated with the Greater Orlando Aviation Authority and have performed enhanced cleaning of all areas where the officer worked. Meanwhile, travelers are feeling the impact of the travel ban related to the coronavirus. OAA officials say they've seen a sharp increase in people trying to get back home. Travelers say every day during this pandemic seems to bring new challenges. For now, many are just trying to adapt along the way.
Hearing from friends and family back home, it's not looking good. But I think we're going back at the right time.
We have to kind of reshuffle and rearrange everything and kind of, hit the control on delete and reset, and move forward.
Officials at OAA say they have a plan to deal with the growing changes and are working closely with health officials. New from overnight now, Americans flying home from Europe are finding extremely long lines at airports. Enhanced screening procedures due to the coronavirus are responsible for this massive backlog. A returning traveler took that video you just saw at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport just before midnight, and it was a similar sight in these photos at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. O'Hare and DFW are among 13 airports the Department of Homeland Security says can screen U.S. citizens and residents returning home from Europe. American Airlines says it's cutting 75% of its international flights. The cuts start tomorrow and will last through May 6th. The airline says the cuts are due to government travel restrictions because of the coronavirus and the fact that not as many people are flying anymore. American Airlines plans to cut 20% of its domestic flights next month and 30% in May. Meanwhile, Governor Ron DeSantis wants residents who are in quarantine in Georgia to come home. During his Saturday press conference, DeSantis announced that he is making that request to the Department of Health and Human Services. The Floridians were passengers of the Grand Princess cruise that led to more than 20 coronavirus cases. Take a listen.
Many of these Floridians are elderly. They've been it's in a difficult situation for them. So our Department of Health is working with HHS to make sure these individuals get home safely. They will be tested. They will have to do the self-isolation. But I think it's much better for everyone if they can be safely brought back and be able to get back to their homes.
Princess Cruises is halting operations of 18 ships for at least 2 months. Other cruise operators are doing the same. That's as health officials warn that traveling on a cruise ship could spread COVID-19. President Donald Trump has tested negative for coronavirus. This comes a week after President Trump had dinner with the Brazilian president and his press secretary at Mar-a-Lago. That press secretary later tested positive for coronavirus. Across the world, countries are adding more restrictions. Spain and France are following Italy's lead in announcing sweeping restrictions. In Spain, people will only be able to leave their homes to get food and go to work or medical appointments. France has shuttered its cafes and restaurants. Here in the U.S., the White House announced it's adding more countries to its travel ban. Americans will be able to return to the U.S. from Europe, but non-Americans who travel through the 28 affected countries will be turned away. After long delays and serious complaints, coronavirus testing is beginning to ramp up in parts of the country. But there are lines at some testing centers, and some who are suffering from symptoms say they are unable to get tested. Here's NBC's Kathy Park.
As coronavirus testing expands across the country, the lines are growing. At this drive-through location in Colorado, cars stretch down the road. The demand so high, officials closed early.
Are you here to get tested?
And at the center of New York's worst outbreak, New Rochelle,
Keep your windows up at all times.
drivers were screened before they could enter. The state's mobile test site launched Friday, processing 150 cars. Test results expected in 24 to 48 hours, depending on the patient's health and risk level.
The more tests we take, the more that number will go up. Nobody believes there's only 500 cases of coronavirus in New York today. We believe there are thousands of people who have coronavirus.
Inside Kaiser Permanente's testing location in the Bay Area, an 8-person medical team is getting people through in about 5 minutes.
Once I have the protective equipment on, I go and kind of explain to them the procedure and the swab, which is a little bit in the back of the throat each side and then up in the nares.
But getting to this point isn't easy.
I cannot get tested. And there is no testing available for anyone in my situation. Basically, that means that since I have not been in contact with a known positive test case.
But testing capacity got a big boost when the FDA gave pharmaceutical giant Roche the green light. The company saying its labs have 400,000 test kits ready to ship this weekend. The administration hoping for at least 5 million more tests within a month. Officials also announcing a COVID-19 screening website, but the details on when it will launch and how it will work still unclear.
And again, that was NBC's Kathy Park reporting. Georgia's Secretary of State has postponed the presidential primary election in the state due to coronavirus concerns. The primary, which was scheduled to take place March 24th, has been pushed back to May 19th. In-person early voting, which began on March 2nd, has also been halted. Officials say one of the biggest considerations to move the primary was the safety of poll workers who are often older. 56 confirmed cases of the coronavirus have been reported in Georgia, most concentrated around Metro Atlanta. Florida's March 17th primary, however, is still a go. Governor Ron DeSantis said on Friday that the results of the primary in Florida are unlikely to change even if voter turnout is lower than expected. Elections offices across Florida are reworking plans as poll workers back out, and some polling places are being moved away from assisted living facilities that house people more susceptible to the coronavirus. Orange County Supervisor of Elections Bill Cowles said Orange County polls will be fully staffed despite the loss of some workers. WESH 2 will be following all the results of the primary. You can catch much more of our coverage beginning on Tuesday. People are preparing for coronavirus by stocking up on food and other supplies. Yesterday, we saw customers leaving grocery and department stores with lots of items in their shopping carts. Most people are seeing empty shelves when looking for disinfectant wipes, hand sanitizer, and paper products like toilet paper. Some people are getting ready if they have to self-quarantine for a few weeks by stocking up on the necessities. We are going to have much more on how stores are keeping up with the demand coming up in our next half hour. And we are continuing to stay on top of the coronavirus pandemic and how it is affecting Central Florida. Stay with us on air, online, and inside our WESH 2 mobile app for the latest breaking details. Right now, it is 6:09 on your Sunday, and we want to give you a check of your forecast on this Sunday morning. We've got Eric Burris with a look at those morning temps. And Eric, we are seeing warm weather to start us off, and it's only going to get hotter from here.
Yeah, it's a nice, comfortable start to the day with temperatures in the 60s, but we are heading back into the mids, even upper 80s this afternoon. And yes, I think that we're going to be pretty close to records, though I don't think we're going to quite set them. But we'll have to wait and see. A little bit of patchy fog out the door. Do want to mention that. We'll take you to Flagler County, where visibilities are looking a little bit better at about 4 or 5 miles at the lowest. Remember, it's not until you get below a mile that you start really talking about thick fog. We're watching a little bit of scattered fog around here in Volusia County as well. 4 or 5 mile visibility from DeLeon Springs through Pearson back over to Ormond Beach. Again, little pockets of fog here or there that aren't going to show up on that map are what we're kind of watching this morning, though. So just keep that in mind. High pressure is dominating the Florida weather pattern, and that's why the winds are nice and calm this morning, allowing that fog to form. Here's Futurecast 9 o'clock. We're looking good. Couple of clouds here or there. And in terms of the forecast, with bright sunshine, we'll watch readings climb from 87 degrees 2 o'clock to 89 by 3. We'll talk much more about that forecast and even talk about the launch forecast. SpaceX is trying to put one up today. We've got the numbers straight ahead.
All right, excellent, Eric. Thank you so much. Also still to come on Western News Sunrise, more of your local headlines. We have the latest on a homicide investigation underway in Orange County, what we are learning from those who live near the scene.